people who would hold you accountable.
Of course,
And so when you are accountable to sometimes 1 or 2 or 3 people, then they will ask you the questions and say, okay, so have you read? What have you read this week?
Right.
And so it's important to also know that the spirit of that accountability is not policing. It's not to kind of find fault with you, but it's rather to kind of encourage you. And when we know that at the end of the week I need to talk to somebody, it also becomes one of those things that will help motivate you, and it helps you to pick yourself up.
Good.
So once the habit is formed, then it goes from from having to do it consciously to part of your unconscious behavior, which is what you want.
Yes.
Because then it happens naturally.
Happens.
Yes.
Is it true that when it comes to, for example, this the example that you took about cycling a hill, is it true that as the closer you get to your goal, the harder it gets, the more challenges that you face? Is that true? Because most of the people actually reason that out when it comes to giving up. So for example, if I ask somebody, why did you give up your New Year resolution, they would say, no, the closer that I got, the harder it was. So I got discouraged, or I lost my accountability partner, or something like that. Something major would happen basically to make them give up. Is that true, or is that just in our mental attitude?
I think we can't generalize that. But of course, along the way, we would face many obstacles.
Right.
And actually, failure is a part of the motivating process as well. And sometimes, so for example, this person who wanted to read 3 autobiographies at the beginning maybe ended up reading only 2. So the next 3 months, they would have to read 4. On top of the three books that they would have to read. But still, that's a big start for a person who had not read often before or frequently before. So it's also to look at it from a positive angle and see what you have really gained, rather than focusing on the obstacle. The moment you focus on the obstacle, I think the process gets harder and harder.
Right.
So it's good to celebrate your little wins. So
but that's what people don't tend to do. They tend to focus on what's negative and not positive at all, because maybe that's how people are made. I don't know really, but that's how lots of people think, that they actually focus on what they have lost instead of what they have gained. I noticed in this example of the cyclist, again I'm very interested on that, that there was a particular there was an acronym I think, SCA.
Yes.
Can you please elaborate
so
on that?
SCA stands for the kind of the support that you need.
Okay.
So S stands for the support. It could be a supporting network, it could be the environment. E stands for encouragement, and A stands for accountability. So these are the 3 aspects that need to kind of reinforce in helping the person actually achieve their goal. Okay,
now some might think that all of that is the same thing: support, encouragement, accountability. Can one person handle all 3, or do you actually need a circle of encouragement around you?
Support could be resources, through resources.
Exactly.
So for example, if you want to start a diploma or a degree and you don't have enough money, somebody supporting you financially, that sort of support can go under this. And encouragement could be verbal encouragement. It could be a nod, it could be a smile, it could be acknowledgement, or acknowledging that that person has actually achieved that particular goal. And accountability, we spoke about that before, is to actually be accountable to somebody, and just so that you know you're responsible to achieve something before a particular deadline.
Alright, so on that note, we are going for a short commercial break, but so many more questions to ask you both. Alright, so if you really want to, if you missed the previous segments and you want to check us out, please go on the MTV Sports YouTube channel and check us out there. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. You're with me, Anfama, your host for today. This is Roseanne and Fujita if you missed out the previous segments, but we're still talking about New Year resolutions, and we've already down the line of a very special presentation that we have been discussing about. Let Roseanne continue without further ado.
Okay, so I want to focus more on New Year resolutions in the workplace, how it can improve the effectiveness, the productivity of the workplace. And so if we, as now we in the first segment we spoke about personal resolutions that we set individually. We can also set collaborative goals. So as a team we can get together and we can plan the year ahead or 6 months ahead of us. So a collaborative goal will also automatically give you that that support that we were talking about before, encouragement and accountability, because there are many people around you who are there for you and who are focused on the same thing. Also, we can introduce to the workplace certain buddy systems. So for example, if you're a senior member within the workplace, you have a new recruit coming in, you can mentor that new recruit and also talk about these resolutions and goals for the year ahead. We can also have workplace coaches and also people who hold you accountable in achieving these goals. It could be a friend, it could be the person who's seated next to you. It could be that both of you need to achieve something, like maybe to read more, to complete a particular course or a diploma. So so collaboratively you can achieve this, and I think that's more effective because in teams there's more synergy, there's more accountability, there's more support and encouragement. So the likelihood of you achieving it is more. Also, if you are an individual who's focusing on career, your career, so if you look at the career-based goals for employee within a workplace, I would suggest that you make 1 or 2 strong goals rather than actually making a lot of goals that you cannot focus on. Another thing is that sometimes as human beings, Anupama, you mentioned this before, that we sometimes focus on what we don't have, the negativity. So without actually being dissuaded by criticism, you actually take it positively. So and also not take criticism too personally. There could be something that you can actually take from that, extract from that for your own personal growth. And
that's
also
something that lots of people are struggling with. I think many people take criticism personally when it comes to even constructive criticism. Some people think of the criticizer very judgmentally as well. Something that we see mostly in Sri Lanka, I believe. So yeah, what you said was I think was really important, especially people who just start work, or people who don't have a strong support system at home or at school, people who grew up with issues. So when they come into work and when they face even constructive criticism, it's really tough for them to digest what they just heard.
I think it's important to be open to other people's feedback, and I think feedback is instrumental in your own personal growth, hence your career growth as well. So moving on, you can also start a kudos file. Sometimes this is to actually negate the problem of focusing too much on negativity. You collect the emails, the text messages, the praise that you actually got from your manager at a meeting. So all these good things that you collect, and this is sort of your little haven or motivating corner. And whenever you feel down, maybe you can actually go and have a look at it. I actually encourage my clients and my students as well, when I teach, to maintain a book, a picture book. So I tell them, well, you know, we are not too old to do these things, and to actually use crayons and colors to make it more fun. And also to write certain things that you always love to do, the type of person you wanted to become. And also whenever somebody say confirmed that you have become that or you have achieved that, to actually go and tick that off. So it is to actually show that you have achieved that, and to actually show that to yourself is harder than to show it to somebody else, unfortunately. So also take a real vacation. Sometimes we go
on real vacation. What do you mean by a real vacation?
Sometimes we go on holiday, we take our laptops, we take our mobiles, we're on YouTube, we're on emails. That is not a real vacation. I mean, if you really look at it, a vacation is where you get rest, and you need to. If you're serious about success, if you're serious about your personal growth, about your career prospects and career growth, you also have to have periods where you rest and relax. So and that is important. And as Pujita mentioned at the beginning, the quiet time he mentioned. So you can use your holidays holidays, the vacations, to actually go to this, to have a retreat, if you may want to call that, and also to have a look at your
picture book,
your journals.
Kudos, file.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to start one today. It's very interesting. Yeah,
so to sort of refresh yourself.
All right.
Also, turn off the complaining mode. Complaining about the weather, about what's happening around, about the culture of the organization, about your manager. Think about what
basically
you can do.
Right.
What is it that you can do to change the situation?
That's interesting.
Rather than externally focusing on everything that's going wrong, maybe there is a problem in you that is failing to adapt to this particular situation. So turn off complaining and also making excuses.
Yes.
Stretch yourself. I think this is really important. We no longer live in a world where everything is limited. It's boundaryless.
Very true. Yes.
The entire world is at our fingertips. So in order to adapt to a world like that, you also need to be open, and you need to also stretch yourself and stretch your limits to really experiment and see what you can do.
Does that mean that you put yourself into a place that you haven't been before, even if you think initially that you haven't got any experience about it, but if you think that you're really passionate, and if you think that you can do something out there about this whole goal, you put yourself into a position that you were not before, in order to challenge yourself, to push yourself.
Exactly. I'll give you an example. When I was in the UK studying, there was a cancer research run, and I'm telling you, for about 2 years I haven't exercised. So we had to run 5 kilometers, and I knew I wouldn't finish the race.
Okay.
But I wanted to just try it. But believe it or not, I did finish the race. So I think the greatest lesson that I learned there is, if you don't try, you wouldn't know. So you have to put yourself in a situation where it seemed probably at the beginning impossible, but just to test yourself and your boundaries to see whether you can achieve that.
Okay.
And also plan to be a world-class citizen in everything that you do. And when I say world-class, what I mean is try to grasp things, what is around you. Try to understand things, but not wearing your own lenses, but probably more objectively, and utilize each and every micromillisecond fully, so that you live a life of service, also you live a life of fulfillment.
All right, that's very interesting. Unfortunately, Roseanne, time has run up. Now, time is a big problem when it comes to creating resolutions and keeping it. But as Roseanne said, you have to stretch yourself, and in order to be a world-class citizen, you have to put yourself into places that you think that you can't handle. But in the end of the day, it all depends on your attitude. Right?
That's right.
All right, thank you so much for being here, Roseanne and Pujita. We hope to see you again. We will definitely see you again. I'm hopeful that the production team will bring you back here to talk about what is important in life. So thank you so much for being here. Can you quickly tell the audience how they can keep in touch with you in order to get more details about becoming a better person?
Okay, so we have a Facebook page, 2 Facebook pages called Full Life Coaching, and also we have Forte Facebook page.
Yes.
It's an interactive platform. We ask questions, we ask people to write about their issues. Secondly, people can also find us on www.fulllifecoaching.com.au and www.forte.lk.
All right, thank you so much, Roseanne and Pujita, for being here. We'll be right back after the commercial break, and Amaya will be joining me, but don't go anywhere. There's another interesting guest lined up.